So, welcome back. Today's session is a bit of a session to kind of like explain something that we might have or should have explained earlier. I'm not sure. If you remember, David has shown you data streams a couple of sessions back. And he was already using this thing called Elastic Agent to do that because that's what using data streams in the background. But we never really explained data streams to you properly. So just to take a step back, what do you have or why are why is Elastic Agent there? So you know the beats, they have been there for a long time. They are the things that collect and forward all data. And you have file beat and metric beat and heartbeat. And you install them and you have a YAML configuration for each one of them. And if you have your own automation in place, that's already working nicely because you just need to deploy the right YAML and configure that. But if you, for some reason, don't have a lot of automation in place yet or want to have more of a click something together experience, it's not so great. So the idea of Elastic Agent is really there is a single agent that you install and we call it enroll into the rest of the stack. And then you can manage everything through a UI. So you basically manage what you collect and how to set it up and everything through Kibana directly. So there are two main pieces to that. There is Elastic Agent, and to add an agent in the UI is very simple. So you basically say add agent. You can say this is the so-called policy, and I'll get into the policy in a moment, you want to choose. And then you basically get the command, like first you download the right agent for your operating system on the operating system. And then you just copy this command and say like Elastic Agent install for this URL, which is Fleet, and I'll get into Fleet in a moment. And then you have a so-called enrollment token to actually make that Elastic Agent join that Fleet server. Fleet server is another Elastic Agent that is not just like collecting information, but also collecting data from other agents and then can forward that to Elasticsearch and Kibana. And what that looks like, I have already here, one of my agents is this one that I have enrolled. And it is using the default policy. And by default, the default policy has this system integration, but let's add another integration. And it might take a moment or two until this is rolled out. So let's quickly do that and I can show you some more details. The adding more components is just done through the browser here. So for example, I could say, I want to add Nginx. And in Nginx, I just want to have the reverse proxy that we're running here. And I want to add that. And it has a full description of all the data that it's collecting and everything. But you can look at that yourself. I actually want to add it now. And I can say like, this should be called Nginx1. I want to collect Nginx logs. I don't want to collect metrics from Nginx. So you can just disable that. And then I can say, yes, my logs live in var log Nginx access log, and the error logs live in var log Nginx error log. If you have a different path configured for that, you could change it here. So it's all through the UI. And then when you say like, oh, this is all I want, and I want to apply this to the default policy, which is the one that is rolled out on that one agent that I'm using here, you can save the integration and you actually deploy the change directly. So I don't need to touch any YAML files. And you see, it will tell you, this will roll out the agent on our instance. And then we can go back to the one agent that where we have this running here. And then you see, this is the one agent that is using this policy. I can click into the agent. You see, we have these two configurations here. And you can see the logs. And ideally, as I follow along here, you can see that it automatically runs the beats for you in the background. So you just think in terms of like, you configure agent and the features, and in the background, it will, like a puppet master, basically manage the beats for you. So this will roll out right now, metric beat and file beat, heartbeat, and packet beat, as the newest one, are also supported. Audit beat will come most likely next. So this is the automated enrollment way. And while I'm talking, I will need to generate a few requests. And ideally, as we wait then, there will be Nginx requests coming in. So let's see in the AP or observability overview just now. This was when we restarted the agent. So before there was very little activity in logs, what we were collecting. And here we were starting to get more events because the Elastic Agent FileBeat was starting to get active. And as we refresh, hopefully in a moment, more events will be streaming in. You can see we're already automatically monitoring the host. I have stopped all other beats on that system. And you can see now we just generated a bit more load when we were rolling out that agent. So while I'm waiting for some more data to stream in here, what is also important to know is basically agent is kind of the future, but it still has some rough edges, and you can run it in two ways. You can either run it in this automated way that I've shown you, where you enroll it from Kibana, basically where you copy it. There's also a so-called standalone mode where you still deploy a YAML configuration, and then agent, based on that YAML configuration, will do the right thing in the background. So it will download FileBeat and MetricBeat. It will start them with the right configuration and forward information. So you can either do this more UI-driven approach, or you can still manage those FileBeat agents through YAML if you want that. So it's really more of a convenience feature. And you have all these, or not all yet, but almost all the integrations that we have otherwise that you can use there. And you can see we are starting to access more or get more logs. Since I have now added Nginx access log, we should be seeing those. So, well, let's have a quick look. Let's say we live stream here. And somewhere in here, we have the Nginx access logs. So we could then view details and then filter down to, for example, Nginx or whatever other information you want to have here. So I could just say, I'm only interested in Nginx access logs. No. It doesn't want me here. We were here a moment ago. Yeah, sometimes this UI is a bit finicky. Now we have them again. And then in here, I think David in the background just triggered an exception. So this is what you're seeing here. This is this long stack trace here. But this will collect all the information that you have configured in the background. So it's just a convenience feature that you have, and you can collect custom logs and anything else that you want here. So I hope that made beats and agent, which is kind of the thing that we invest very heavily going forward, a bit clearer, and why you might want to add agent, or why you might want to stick to FileBeat, for example. So for example, if you manage it through Fleet, it cannot forward to Logstash right now, but only to Elasticsearch directly. So there are still some things under configurations or consideration and some features that will be coming. But in the long run, we think that agent will be the way forward. But even for 8.0 that will come out in some time, all the beats are still there the way you're used to them. So nothing changes for you. It's just agent provides an additional means to make your life easier to collect all the relevant information. And that's it for today. We just have one more session left for tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow to wrap up this session or season of 15 daily Elastic Bytes. See you tomorrow then.